Let me announce it that we started the stream. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. Okay. Close this one. Open this one. And let me double check if everything is working fine. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay. Lucky number 111 episode. My friend, 111. Lucky number, lucky number.
Sounds neat.
True. Okay, let me double check if everything is working fine. And also, I'm here in my original position now. Okay, fine. Please, ladies and gentlemen, let us know if everything is working correctly on the stream. There is no lag. Audio is good. Video is good. Let us know so we can start. Like I'm always saying at the end of the interview, you will be able to ask some questions too. I will also share the link of Threshold in the stream chat as well, because I shared it on my Discord, but let me do that in the chat as well so people can check out the game if they did not know about it. And let me highlight it in the chat real quick. Oh, where's the highlight button? By the way, should I send you over my Twitch link or you have it?
I have it.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
But, yeah. It's first time I'm doing such a thing.
Oh, okay.
I'm not used to do live stuff.
Thank you. No, I'm professional, so don't worry. I don't ask questions that I'm not allowed to, so don't worry.
Oh, sure.
Don't worry. Okay, let me know, Julien, if you're down to start. Let me know. Should we start?
I'm ready. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so welcome everyone in my very new episode of my Dev Live show today. I'm joined with Julien. I hope that I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Let me know
Perfectly.
if it's wrong. And our friend here worked on games like Crysis 4, Marvel Blades, and Deathloop. And he also made the game called Threshold. And with his wife, he's also working on another personal project called Olive. First of all, I would like to say thank you, and I'm very honored that you joined us for today's episode. It really means a lot to me. And like I'm always saying, let's start with a little bit of introduction. So please introduce yourself for us.
Yeah, you did a pretty good job at that. So I'm Julien. I'm 31. And yeah, I'm doing both. I'm both working in AAA. Right now, I'm on Hunt Showdown, and I worked on Threshold for a year and a half, and it's done now. It's done now, but not really, because there is sorry, I've got a.
It's okay.
There used to be quite a lot of bugs, actually.
I see.
Despite the fact that the game is pretty linear, there's a lot of edge cases that can still happen. In particular, because you can grab, you can do a lot of things that aren't told you, that aren't told. Even if it's basic, you are just told, for example, to use a bucket in a certain way in the game, and you can actually do it in many different ways to make it consistent. And if you feel like it's gonna work, it has to work.
I see.
Yeah, this led to some hard to predict issues, or hard to catch timings and stuff like that. And
I see.
So yeah, unfortunately for solo dev, even with some support with a QA, it's hard to to get everything through the net. So yeah.
I see.
So some things that are remaining.
I see. So you're still working on this game to fix everything. I see.
Yeah, it's starting to be in a really nice shape right now, because there's it's I'm working with the 10th patch, and now it's more like optimization on adding a few options like y-axis inverted and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I didn't think there were so many people actually wanting that in particular, and now I discover this.
I see.
So trying to live up to the expectations to the people who wanted.
True. It's understandable. You want a good game out there, right? To be appealing for people and be polished. So it's understandable. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that, by the way. Thank you. I appreciate your honesty about that.
Sure.
My very first question would be, what was your very first contact with video games as a player, if you remember those times of your past?
Yeah, it was. There were two games. It was Metal Gear Solid 1.
Nice. Okay.
I think I was 6. Playing, and also Quake. I don't remember if it was Quake 1 or 2, but it was on PC for that one.
Okay.
But I recall finishing Metal Gear Solid 1 at that age, not really understanding anything, I think. But, I really liked the vibe and just, the game in itself, even though I played without really knowing what was I doing by the time, I think.
I see.
Because when you are 6 or 7,
True. It's more about the gameplay that you suck in as a player, right? Not the story
I
itself.
think so.
Yeah,
the atmosphere also. I mean,
true.
it really, marked
the
me.
music, the graphics, more.
Yeah.
Okay. From that point of your life, by the way, what was the transition when you realized that, okay, it's not just that I love playing video games, but I also would like to work on games? What was that first step of yours when you made yourself this decision that, okay, now I would like to work on video games as well?
Well, actually, I wanted to make movies at first.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and the story is a bit stupid, but like I entered the school.
I see.
Just to sign in basically on fill a form, to say okay, I want to enter studies in your school.
I see.
On with the intention of going to cinema, and they told me, oh, do you want the cinema or the video game form? And they told me, yeah, we just opened that that branch in the school for video game design in particular. And I was like, video game, and that was it, because I had a lot of love for video game.
True.
As well, even more actually than cinema. And that's how it was, that's how it started basically. Like,
I see. You never regret this decision of yours? By the way, you never missed like wanting to be a person who makes movies as well? Or you went back to that territory of your passion sometimes?
I did, but on my personal time, basically.
I see.
But yeah, feels like, in games you can actually do some cinema work.
True. It's true. But it's not just like cinema, it's a mix of everything. Yeah.
It's actually deeper to my, because you can actually do like exactly like how Kojima does it somehow.
True. Like, interactive movie, but still involved with gameplay and story. Yeah.
On gameplay that are like actually quite deep. Metal Gear Solid are a bit mocked because of the length of the cinematics. But
true. Very true.
When you play, it's actually like you can do a lot of things on like it's very responsive to players.
True. It's very true. Yeah.
So yeah. So I don't regret it at all.
I see. Nice. So your love for that game still stayed, and it influenced your whole life. I see. I love that.
Absolutely.
That story. Okay. A more personal question from me would be: were your parents, family members, and close friends supportive about this decision that you switched from movies and went into working on video games? How do you feel about this?
Yeah, I had a lot of luck on that matter. Basically their motto is like, if you're happy, we're happy. So
I see.
That's cool. They were, as any parent, a bit skeptical about, back in the day, video games. They were unsure that it was like business, like a solid business enough.
True.
Now I think we were all knowing that it's the case.
True.
It's even going through a crisis as any business. So.
True.
But yeah, so they were okay with that. On people that weren't my parents were just like, oh, cool, you make video games. I mean,
I see. The thing, by the way, it's important to have a mentally supportive background in your life in order to go for your dreams. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, yeah, I actually don't know how it feels to not be supported. I know that many people go through that.
I see.
But it's hard for me to fathom how
understandable,
complicated it must be. But yeah.
I see.
Yeah, I'm privileged on that matter.
Okay. What was, by the way, your very first game that you worked on? So how it all started for you when you started really working on games?
It was for an internship, actually. For 2 months before joining Arcane.
I see.
No, it's the summer internship that in France, I guess it's the case in many countries.
I see.
That after your studies, you get to have an internship to kind of validate your scholarship.
I see.
And it was in a very tiny mobile game studio, that was that was also in Lyon, the city I'm still living in.
I see.
And we were making games for like kids.
I see.
So puzzly, semi-educational games.
I see.
And I made 100 levels for some very basic stuff. It was cool. It was interesting to work on such a thing. And then I went to Arcane. I worked on Dishonored 2 as a QA.
I see. Okay.
And that was it.
I see. Okay. You worked, by the way, on so many AAA games so far, seeing your portfolio. What was your favorite AAA game to work on and why?
Probably Deathloop.
Okay.
I still have this thing. Probably Deathloop because I got to see the beginning and the end of it.
I see.
Own levels from the beginning to the end as well, So
I see.
It's really cool to have a baby and push it all the way through. That's satisfying. I also had the opportunity to do that in Dishonored Death of the Outsider, but I worked on a map that was already existing in Dishonored 2. I just changed it like a lot, but still it's the same shell, basically.
I see. Okay.
I also liked working on Wolfenstein Youngblood, even if it was not a super good game. It was a cool collaboration, it was with Machine Games, the people who recently released Indiana Jones, actually. It was a nice time.
I see.
Even though the game didn't live up to the expectations and wasn't really that
a lot of people loved it. Like a lot of people, in my opinion, loved it. It's just
if you play co-op, you have a good time, apparently.
True.
Yeah.
True. And it's for those hardcore fans, right? So it's really about for those people who love the genre and the franchise itself, in my opinion. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Throughout the journey for you as a game developer, even if it's about working on AAA titles, even if it's about working on your personal projects, what was your favorite part about working in the video game industry, or parts within the process of making video games?
Good question. I actually like a lot of things. That's also why I started doing indie, indie stuff. It's because I like level design.
I see.
I also really like game design. So, making the mechanics. I really like sound. I really like staging stuff on, back to the roots of the cinema. Like, staging stuff, mise en scène, like making something that is um, epic, or, or that makes you feel something deep down.
I see.
So all these things. Yeah. I don't have one thing. I like people to experience something they haven't seen before. That's kind of my,
I see.
the thing that I want for a game when I make it.
I see.
Be it, goofy or frightening, or
something
like many different things.
unexpected. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
I try to do that on a small scale with Threshold, with by having many components. Actually, it's not just, atmospheric horror. It's debatable whether it's horror or not, actually.
I see.
There's a lot. There are some like goofy things, The duck. I don't know if you found
There's
it.
also
but,
like moral aspect of the game, which I like to see, that how people react when I watch some people's streams and playthroughs. It was so nice to see, by the way, that you really like understand not just the level system design, but also like how to add the story part for that, like giving people the freedom but still having these moral questions and answers, and this connection. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that worked well. I'm glad.
Nice. Okay. You talked about your favorite part and parts working on video games. What about the hardest part or parts with the process of making games, even if it's, again, AAA or your personal projects?
Hardest path. The hardest thing in the indie space for me was maybe the overwhelming reception.
I see.
At the release, it was hard to handle, because even though I had a publisher that did a great job, I still, couldn't help myself but checking every stream, every review on somewhere bad at the beginning.
That's the passion, my friend. That's the passion, right?
Yes. But it consumes yourself a bit. And yeah, it wasn't as smooth and pleasant as it can be on AAA, where there are a lot of other people, so the responsibility is shared, whatever the result is.
True.
You can, you can feel, but you also feel like it's not totally your baby. So
True.
it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because I really actually enjoy also working in AAA, even there are some shortcomings to it. But yeah, actually maybe one of the hardest part of doing AAA is, communicating right with your coworkers. Make sure that you are understood. Make sure that there's no tension, and to not create some. It happened to me. I mean, I sometimes created tensions. I'm not super happy about that. But yeah, there's a lot of like internal politics going strong when you are in a studio. That's interesting, but also a bit drowning.
I see. There's the personal level of the people working together, right? You can't avoid it at the end of the day, so it makes sense.
You are not alone with your ego. You are like with many other egos, that want different things for a variety of valid reasons.
True.
That makes it interesting and complicated, because you also have to find middle grounds, or learn to convince people, or
what's
be open
best
to
for the project, for the game itself.
Exactly.
Right?
And you have to remember that what's important is the player. Because we don't really matter in the end.
No, all of you matters, in my opinion. That's what people do not understand. In my opinion, everyone matters, even if it's AAA, even if it's indie. Like you said it, like people do not see it because it's like a company who is making games. But in my opinion, they should see it, that there are a lot of people who are working their ass off, crunching and having this passion for games. So in my opinion, it matters. It's just like you said, it's like that personal connection and level of what people do not see because they only see the company, right? So Ubisoft or all these other big companies that they see. So it's easier to blame the company, right, than the people. So
yeah, and that's true. That's a good thing. Yeah, you are right to mention that because indeed, when right now I'm working on Hunt, and we are a lot of people on Hunt. We are more than 300, I think. And Hunt, as any multiplayer game, is receiving as much hate as love, and I think people don't realize that we see everything. You can always see some people, saying, they are not doing anything, they are not caring at all, and we are like, everyone at the company is reading all of that, all the time.
True.
And but trying again to like working on bigger projects is also accepting that if something works wrong, it's gonna take a lot more time to fix. Threshold released 3 weeks ago, and I already made 9 patches. In a AAA time, there would have been max top maybe 2 patches because also it's on consoles.
You have to
makers
approve those updates for consoles, exactly. By Sony and Microsoft,
exactly, and that takes a lot of time, and everything takes more time. That can also be a bit frustrating.
True. That's why I say that, in my opinion, players, from the player's perspective, really should like learn and see and understand that it's work, right? At the end of the day, it's not just fun working on video games, but it's also hard work. So they should appreciate that hard work, because at the end of the day, I always say this, that at the end of the day, none of the developers would like to ship a bad game, right? So none of the devs join a big team because they would like to ship a bad game. Who wants that? Like, it's crazy. And people, a lot of players do not understand this, that with your harsh opinion, you are not helping. If you are like typing down that this should be sold and fixed, it's helpful. But if you are just being harsh and an asshole about your opinion, it doesn't help at the end of the day. And it also kills the mood of the developers, right? And it also can like bring companies down, which we see nowadays, that, like you said, it's very true, and I can totally relate to that. And agree with you that very high expectations will be never met by the games if people have this unseen and understandable high expectations, which they call a good game. But what is a good game for them, right? So
absolutely,
yeah.
Totally.
Okay. Do you believe, by the way, in perfect synergy between team members, since you worked on so many games in teams, or is it something that develops out through the working process, working together with people?
Good question. I'm not sure you can have a perfect synergy because I mean, with all different backgrounds, even even though we can share a lot of values or a lot of common ideas, we will never have the same product in mind. For I mean, even me, when I'm doing something, I don't actually know how it's gonna end up, because there's so many things that are gonna change until the very last minute.
I see.
But you just try to accomplish what you had in mind, and very often even if you are with like-minded people, you're gonna you're gonna have a way. I mean, at some point, there's a synergy, but it comes at the end, and that's the synergy. But I don't believe there's like I don't think there can be a synergy from the get-go.
I see.
Because we are we are all quite individual at first.
True. How do you handle, or how do you balance, by the way, the influence if you're working on different projects at one time? So how do you balance the influence, not being influenced from project A to project B that much? So, for example, if you are working on a AAA game and you're also working your personal game, how do you balance that influence?
That's actually pretty easy because the thing is, if I'm doing indie, it's to compensate the fact that I can't do some things in AAA.
I see. I see.
I can't express everything.
I see.
So the real pleasure in that is that you can actually, focus on, creating like exactly what you have in mind, and
I see.
on actually, having a lot of fun on the things you want to do on your indie project, on going with the rest of the team where wants to go when you are in AAA. That makes actually a nice mix in terms of directions, because you are sharing a common goal, and you are doing your own stuff that is just for you, kind of.
I see. I see. I see.
So I guess in some cases you can actually do the same thing as you are already doing at your company, but it's pretty rare. It's also a bit dangerous because the company could, say, "Hey, you are just making a competitor," even if it's not on the same scale. There's a lot of, anti anti competition or something. Rules like that in studios. You always sign something like that forbids you to make a game actually on your spare time.
Oh, okay.
That's something that I had to sign with Crytek, like an agreement to say, I'm not gonna use, the tools from the company to make my game, etc., etc.
I see. It makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
So we signed an agreement to say, you can do your thing. It's not really on our lane, so that's fine. As long as you don't mention Crytek in that thing, or like make it or make a terrible game that gives a lot of shitty values or something, on the
I see.
they don't care mostly.
I see.
As long as
That's nice of them, by the way, that they let you express your feelings and in your emotions and personal
absolutely, yeah, that's cool.
opinions in your games. Yeah. Okay. I believe, by the way, all of us creators who create our own craft, we always tend to put our inner self into the craft we make, even if it's about experiencing loss, love, sad times, or happy times. Is this statement of mine true for your work as you work on video games, even if it's AAA games or even if it's your personal projects? And if your answer is yes, could you name some examples from both sides, like AAA and indie scene as well?
So our emotions driving our creations, basically.
Yeah, like your inner self, even if it's emotions or life experiences, stories that you experienced as a person in your own life. Are they like affecting, and are they there in your games, even if it's like AAA or your personal projects?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I'm kind of a depressed guy. Not always, but often.
I don't think so that you are a depressed guy. Just you have a very good moral vision, in my opinion. Like I said, I saw a lot of like players reacting to your games, and they all of them like realize that you have this like very unique vision of like visualizing and making everything into the game as like moral options for the players. Like I realized this, like your game is like pretty much like those games like The Last of Us, like when you have this mirror of reflection of the person who plays the game, right? It's just you as a developer gave more freedom to the people, in my opinion, so they can like experiment there with their own like personality. At least from what I've seen from the like players' reaction playing your game.
Yeah. Hmm? Yeah, that might be. Yeah, that might be right. Mm, but like, sorry, I'm thinking.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Take your time. Take your time. I know it's a hard question, and I know it's like
It's a hard question. What's certain is that that game was made for some reasons, because I wanted to express something
I see.
that surprised me a lot when I learned that number, it's actually about numbers. And the base on the true story is about some numbers from real life that are like country based, basically.
I see. Okay.
That also, works with a special difficulty depending on the country you pick and that kind of stuff.
I see.
And that's a number that shocked me. And I tried to bring it to life, basically, in a game, and make it as shocking or as visual. I don't know how much we spoil or not. But basically, yeah. That's one thing that I really wanted to, funnel into the game and make it, pass that to the player, basically, but not bringing too much, moral point of view on it, like you are a bad person or whatever.
Yeah, it's understandable. Yeah, like you're not trying to preach, but still having this option of people realizing what's good or what's bad from your perspective, right? So.
Yeah. I mean, giving them the choice actually to choose what they want and to choose to actually ignore what's being shown to them, and just move on with that, because the topic of that game is also turns out to also be that's the thing that the game wants to tell me, and I can completely still miss the point. I saw a lot of people playing missing the point completely.
It's true. Yeah. Or there were some who did not understand the story itself. I've seen those people as well playing the game.
Yeah. I mean, it's understandable because I made sure to make the game a bit misleading. So you are not sure that everything you are being told is true, or thing is, even if it's a fictional space, etc. Most of the things you are being told are true. They are just they don't seem like it, because of how strange and how everyone seem to act, and yeah, that creates a state of discomfort and mistrust that I think is interesting, and that fuels also that skepticism towards what's told at the end of the story. I think that's cool. I think that also brings some sort of a meta commentary to the there's this thing, but as in real life, you don't really bother, or you can still decide to ignore.
True. And in my opinion, with this story that you mentioned and the whole game of yours, Threshold, also like could be a symbol, or it is a symbol of like a real life of, for a lot of people, like not realizing what's there around them, right? So they are like, I feel like a lot of people, we discussed it, by the way, with my friends, like yesterday at the evening, of talking about every topic, that it's very interesting that in my opinion, in our society, a lot of like people are trying to avoid thinking, right? Thinking what's around us, what's good, what's bad, and they are like trying to go just for normal society rules, make money, obtain a house, a wife or a husband, kids or a child, a family, and that's all. And people like not like realizing. I'm not saying like not realizing the news, because the news out there, right? But they don't even question the news. They don't even question what's out there. And I think games like yours really like teach people to like start to question the real life, right? So it's not just about like preaching who is bad and who is good, but it's also like kicking in the head or kicking in the ass people, like, come on, wake up, it's real life, it's not just a game, it's out there, it's happening. And
I hope it does that. If it does that, that's
I think
incredible.
it does. Just like you said, some people can miss it like in real life, right? So we have eyes, we have ears, we have everything to experience, but we still miss a lot of things in our society, in our real life. So it's understandable that we miss those in games as well, right? So
absolutely. That's also why it was made a bit like that, with raising a lot of questions. to keep people, engaged after they played. I'm glad it works because some people. I remember in the playtest as well told me that it stuck with me for a while, for a few days, and I was still thinking about it, and that's cool. I mean, there's so many content that you eat and then you forget thinking about a lot of Netflix movies or stuff like that.
True.
I see them, I have a good time, and then I completely forget them because there's no
value.
It doesn't.
Let's say, yeah.
I
agree with that.
So I'm glad I'm able for some people to give them something, then to keep with them. That's so cool. That's the best feeling.
True. Have you always had this, like, by the way, mindset of creating things like that, like these type of crafts which make people think? And what influenced you, like, making these type of games? Because they matter, in my opinion, right? They are game changing, and they are really, like, being able to, like, teach people, like, a lot of things. Have you always been like that in your life, that you, like, were thinking constantly about these topics that you made into your games?
I don't know. I know that I read a lot of news on. I'm really really involved in the political life of
I see.
of my country, but I also really like learning about geopolitics, that kind of stuff.
I see.
Seeing how the world actually runs, on. I'm taking sides personally, but even though I'm taking sides, I'm still reading and listening a lot of what the other side is saying.
So you question everything that's around you.
Yeah, just to make sure that I don't end up in a biased position. I just like to feel involved in what's happening. I don't feel like. I understand that some people don't care. But at the end of the day, it's also their lives that are affected. So I think it's important to raise awareness about how their life and how people can affect their lives as well.
True.
By what they decide or what they So yeah, I'm trying to play my part, I guess. It was not. For the message of Threshold, it was very intentional to raise awareness about a specific topic.
I see.
Without having it too blunt onto.
To take a side.
Onto there's a thing in France. Maybe it's like that in other countries as well. There are like clips from the governments for car crashes and that kind of stuff. Road kills, and it's usually nice. Nice clips, of really well directed mini clips during the advertisements, on TV, and it ends up with often a car crash or something, and with just a black screen on a white text saying every 4 seconds someone dies from a car crash or something like that. Something a bit boom. And I, at first, Threshold was a bit like that, and I changed it to be a bit less, like those clips, just being some sort of an advertisement, not an advertisement, but really just blunt awareness warning about something. I prefer to actually focus on all the rest and make it like more like hey, this in the game was referring to something, and having people look for it on the internet and search answers, even though it means that it's just the more hardcore people that will do that. True. I'm gonna eventually speak about it on my socials, but for now I just want to keep the surprise for people who still didn't play it.
I see. Okay. What came, by the way, first, the story or the gameplay for Threshold?
The story, the thing that happens at the end, that was the most, that's what fueled the whole creative vision. At first, it was just a 5-minute game, that just was there to make a point, basically, make the point. And and it was happening in an American suburb. Really no relation at all with how big it became. That at some point I felt like, okay, maybe it shouldn't be just a gimmick game, kind of a joke game, that even though it's not really a joke, that makes more than that, and is a game in itself, not just a walking sim without anything to do aside from receiving some information. Because that's what I want to do. I want to make games. So if I can't even do that on my first indie one, that would be problematic.
True. Okay. Again, a more personal question from me would be: how have you changed as a person in other territories of your own life, from being a game developer in the AAA scene and in the indie scene? So what changes have been out there for you in life in other territories of your own life, from being a game developer for so many years with so many experience?
You changed so much. I mean, when I started, I was like 20 or something.
Okay.
Now I'm 31, so it's all my youth was basically happening. My young adult life was happening at Arcane and yeah, I was just maybe too passionate about stuff. I was actually really pushing for stuff all the time. Some people weren't happy about it. But yeah, that's how I started basically, and I learned that that some people wanted more more space, or wanted I mean, I had a lot of trouble with boundaries at first there, because I wanted to try a lot of things. So, a bit like an indie, trying to do some game design stuff as well. Trying to get involved in many things because I was super interested in them. But in AAA, it's hard to actually do that without, having people, annoyed, like legitimately annoyed by it, because you are stepping over their toes sometimes. Without even wanting that. So I learned a lot of not doing that and being a bit more, in my lane, and when working in AAA on just doing the job, basically.
I see.
As best as it can be for the project. And for the indie part, I relearned to, really have fun doing exactly what I have in mind. Without really much constraints aside from the day-to-day life, because I now also have a kid and everything, so it also is an important thing, and it's actually the most important thing, and that's
family first.
Why
we talked about that.
Yeah.
I love your passion, by the way, for video games, and I love that you mentioned that you had this passion for AAA games as well, and sometimes you had to step on someone's leg, right? Because even if you didn't want it to, but you wanted more. Yeah, it's understandable. Speaking of family, by the way, how do you balance your family time, free time, and work time? Do you have a perfect balance for that, or it's messy, very much?
It's a bit messy.
Okay.
I'm kind of a messy guy.
Okay. It's not a bad thing, in my opinion. It's just I'm asking it.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing, but it's also it makes you a bit unpredictable for people, and it can be an issue, basically. So my wife has been super understanding of that situation, and for a while it wasn't a problem at all. These last weeks it became really, 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 something complicated. Everything is fine, but having to work on the game a lot to fix the most pressing issues. Now we are in a good state. The game is in a good state, so I can start to take more time for everything. But yeah, during release it was really hard. Before release it was okay. We managed to still balance it, but the kid isn't going to a kindergarten yet, so my wife already spends all of her day with him, and it can't just be all of the night as well, all of the evening as well, so
true. You have to share this
exactly.
responsibility.
So I'm, as much as when I'm not working on the game, basically I'm with the baby and I'm with my wife.
You'll be the biggest fan of your games, right?
I don't know, maybe not anymore because she played it a lot.
I see.
But yeah, it's starting to get really better, because I can get more time for that part of my life, and I actually don't want to do it again, because it was really exhausting during the last few weeks.
I see.
Yeah, I have to make a choice about my future, basically.
I see. Can you see yourself, by the way, making indie games like in the future, or is it something that you will stop doing and you will focus on your family and AAA? How do you see your future now?
That's a good question. I
Thank you.
think I would like to go more into the indie side of things.
That's the passion, right, in you that we were talking about it.
Yeah, there's a thing that I want. I have stories to tell that exactly know how I want them, and as soon as you get more people involved,
I see.
it can't be as uncompromising.
True.
Unless you are a tyrant, so
you're a strict boss telling everyone what should they do, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I think I'm aiming for. But we'll see, because it's also a lot of financial pressure. There's so many parameters actually. And I actually, I've also a soft spot for working for AAA, and working with a team is also a cool thing. And if you are full solo, maybe you are missing something as well. Confronting ideas and stuff like that. So yeah,
I see.
Gonna be interesting to see how it unfolds.
I see. Let's speak about, by the way, Olive. What was the influence behind that game? Because it's like painting dioramas and also searching for ghosts, if I understand it correctly, right? My question, by the way, for this game would be like, do you believe, by the way, in ghosts, or your wife believe in ghosts, or what was the idea behind like searching for a ghost? I'm interested in that.
I don't believe in ghosts.
Okay.
My wife doesn't either. It's a game actually we made together. It's a prototype that we made together.
Okay.
But it's hard to stay motivated, both of us on the same ideas.
I see.
And she loses she loses motivation quite quickly, and I don't want to be bossing around my wife. That would be weird. So yeah, but sometimes we feel like, hey, maybe we should go back to that, because we like for that game there are like obvious Ghibli. I mean, maybe not obvious, but Ghibli, influence.
I see.
And it's funny now because there's a lot of games where you make your room and stuff, so it would be a bit less special. But there's still this thing of basically the idea was you are a young girl that got her grandparents' house, and it's an old house, a bit rusty and everything, and you want to repaint it completely, and you discover that in most of the rooms there are phantoms that are hidden. Ghosts, sorry, that are hidden. And they will only appear if you make something special in that room, if you paint something in a certain way or etc. And you can only see them, very shortly. Like in the example, I think that is on my website, there is this, window with a train passing, and there's a sunlight, and you can see the train shadow passing by. And when the train passes in between wagons, again a train, in between wagons you can see the shape of the ghost. But as soon as the train has passed, the ghost isn't there anymore. So it's a way to really subtly make it there, or make it maybe print it to your head without really having you seeing it very clearly. And that was the idea, and we would have liked to make that in other rooms, but at some point, there were a lot of some motivation missing, and I was also, unsure about how much people would want to just have a game where you just paint some stuff.
I would like to see that game on store, so please finish it.
Okay.
Don't go unmotivated, please. I first time I saw it, I was interested pretty much in it. Yeah. By the way, what was the influence behind that story that you mentioned, by the way, for Olive? So was it like a personal motive to do this story, or some
not
books,
really.
movies?
Not really. We were looking for a game to make together.
I see.
So a game that mixes. I mean, I like making all sorts of games. That's one thing also that's important to me, and that's gonna be hard to sell, I think. That's I don't want to make horror games all my life. I made one. I'm glad it's good. But next game that I would like to make would be more like Evangelion, Metal Gear Solid kind of game. So really different influences on stuff. And as a studio brand, etc., and even as a single person, it's hard because it feels like you have to resell yourself. True. If you are making such a game.
True, I understand what you're saying. Like players, it's sometimes it's weird for players if a person or the development team makes very different games.
Yeah, exactly. It won't be the same players to convince. Hopefully, the people who like Threshold will be, on board, even though it's not the same game. That would be cool. But yeah, I mean, sorry. And to get back to Olive, we really like, having a nice, fancy home, basically.
I see.
And we like having some stuff painted and stuff like that, basically. And we wanted to replicate that in a way to emulate that and have it present in a game, basically. And we felt like, okay, maybe we should do that. Like, how about a game where you are like painting a house? And at some point, I think we thought like maybe there could be some ghosts around, so blending also her way of drawing, because she draws with a 3D space, like trying to blend a bit influences, but we didn't find the perfect spot yet, the sweet spot, the visual sweet spot. But yeah, we made some good steps in that direction. I think it was a nice experimentation at least.
I see. Okay. Going back to Threshold, by the way, are you planning to release your game for other platforms as well, or it will stay only for just the PC players?
It might end up on more platforms.
Okay.
There have been some talks about it. I'm not sure I can say more about it, but I guess it also depends on the game's success. For now, it's a success on a solo dev level, I would say. But if I compare myself to the other Critical Reflex games in the portfolio, for now, I'm not as important as them, and they don't all have a physical release either. So there might be some, road still before it
You're
happens.
important. Don't say that. Like, have confidence, my friend. You worked on such awesome like AAA titles, and you worked on such awesome like personal projects. Have self-confidence. That's your homework for from today's episode of my Dev Life show. Have self-confidence. And I love your mentality that it's not just that you take negative criticism to your heart, but you take like very much to heart like you're positive and you're like humbled with those, because when you mentioned that like people love your game, it was a weird feeling for you. Have you always been like that, by the way, that if somebody like complimented you or said that your game is awesome, you had this weird feeling of not knowing what to say? And why is that? If you don't mind me asking, of course, this,
no,
because it's a
but
nice thing in my opinion. It's just like,
I don't know. I'm just, an anxious guy, always doubting of myself.
I see.
And
You
actually
shouldn't, by the
like
way.
to
You
be,
shouldn't. You shouldn't, in my opinion. You have crazy ideas, so
yeah, but I like to be like that, because
I
it
see.
makes me, question myself and question
see,
also my
I see.
choices. And
I see.
that allows me to end up with something that I'm really happy with, because I know that I challenged it myself. I
So
didn't
much, yeah.
went just I've got the best idea in the
No,
world.
it's understandable. Yeah. It
know.
makes sense. Yeah.
So I actually like to be not that confident about things. It makes me, sometimes a bit. It's a bit draining because I'm not a confident type of guy. But
It's not a problem. Like, I wasn't saying it's a
I think
problem. It's just
healthy for others, basically.
I
Not
see.
necessarily healthy for me,
But
but
it
healthy
helps
for
the
others. So that's
creative
cool.
process. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you say, by the way, that sometimes when you have this questioning process in the work, when you work on games, is there like an end to it when you say that, okay, now I'm finished with this game and now I can let it go and I can go and move to another project? Or it's very hard for you like to say that, okay, now I'm at the finish line, I did the best I could, and now I can move to another project?
That I can do. And that feels weird to me because I have that, I want to do more, to do more, to do more.
I see.
Scope creep a bit mentality. But I also, I think, know when it's good enough, and like, okay, there's this phrase in French, which is, I think there are some equivalents in English, but, the good is the enemy of the better, or something like that, and trying to always make something better isn't always, worth it, or even a good thing. So I don't know how I found that balance. I think that's when I, for games, it's when I play. Actually, I make a lot of playtests with a lot of people.
I see.
From the get-go to know if the game is going in the right direction or not.
I see.
At some point, people stop complaining about the stuff I wasn't sure about. So I feel like, okay, I maybe reach a sweet spot. I just want to make sure that all the other points, on when it ends up being, when the feedbacks start to be really minor or on some things that I'm okay with, that's fine, means that I reach my goal, and that's it.
How do you balance, by the way, players' feedback and having your own vision? How do you balance those two? Since you mentioned that players' feedback also matters for you.
Oh yeah, it matters a lot. That's a tricky topic that you learn, I think, through experience a lot, because you don't have to take all feedbacks as a valid thing, in particular because people don't. People don't play all games, so they don't have a holistic. Even me, I don't play all games, but don't have a holistic vision of how a game should be. And sometimes you are making them playtest that, but they are not used to that kind of game at all. So maybe it won't work that much for them. But it could still be the exact thing the people you are aiming at want.
True.
thing is, I didn't really know my target for that game. I knew that maybe the horror community could be a bit receptive to it, but still, it's a bit adjacent to horror. I still don't consider it properly horror, because there are not the components of being chased by something, or
True.
there's not a lot of super scary moment, There's a few, but not that much.
Yeah.
And sorry, I digressed.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Okay, before I ask, no, go for that. If you sorry for interrupting.
No, but that's it.
Okay. Before I ask some closing questions, are you down to go into some questions from the chat as well?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay,
I didn't read them at all.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me know if there is any question. I know it's early, but let us know.
Yeah.
Work time for everyone, but let us know. Hölgyek, urak, bármilyen kérdés? Any questions? Sorry. Any questions?
I would be sleepy as well. I get that.
Sleepy at work, right? Sleepy at work. Let us know, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. While we are waiting for questions, by the way, are you planning to have physical editions for Threshold for those fans who would like to have a physical copy on their shelf? Or it's something that's spoiler time and you can't talk about it?
I'd like that, but it's not really, on my in my power to decide. So it's gonna be my publisher who decides whether or not it makes sense economically, I guess. And how to say, I would love that because having a physical copy.
True. You grew
of
up
the game you made on your
also
shelf.
on old school games, right? So you respect that, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of publisher, by the way, how hard was it to find a publisher, or how easy was it for you?
It was fairly easy because actually it came from Twitter, because it was through posting some some updates for my game when I was making it, and 3 publishers approached me, which is a rare thing. I'm super glad. So I was in a position of picking my publisher, which is something that is super rare. So I didn't even realize how rare it was, but now I do. And I'm glad I went with them, even though the others were also really nice and had a good chats with them.
I see.
Feels like Critical Reflex was a nice match. And I think the Steam demo that I made at some point was also helping raising attention from publishers. And when a game is already basically made, it's an easy pick, because the job that they'll have to do will be more like on the publishing side, not on the funding, so that can also be interesting for them.
True. Do you market yourself the game as well, or is it just them who markets the game?
No, I did a lot of market myself, Ottó roles in particular, and they were more on the on the Steam side of things, with attaching the game to all their portfolio, which brought also a lot of attention.
I see.
Had the chance of having Buckshot Roulette on mouthwashing working really well, and that brought some people to it as well.
True. Okay, there's a question, by the way. Probably a silly question, but what is the cat's name? Okay, yeah. A cute cat in the back.
It's Tisha, which is...
Tisha, okay.
Which means little cat.
Okay.
In French.
Wow. Nice. Thank you for the question, by the way, White Pigs, and thank you for the answer as well. Any more questions, ladies and gentlemen? Let us know. Any more questions from the chat? Any more questions? Let us know. Any more questions? Do you think, by the way, that for so many years that you worked on video games, and with so many experiences, so many stories to tell and to consume. Do you think like you found yourself in life by this dream of yours that you now working in, or you still have something in your life as a video game developer to challenge yourself in? How do you feel about this? I know
Oh, I
it's a
still
more
have things
personal
for
question, but I hope you don't
still have
mind
things
it.
to challenge myself in the realm of video game making. You
I
know,
see. I see.
that's also why I want to tackle bigger things still by myself, but bigger things. But yeah, I'm quite happy with my you know, where I am right now on all my journey. Basically, feel like I grew a lot in a great way, and yeah, I'm thankful for all of that. I mean, I'm really lucky.
See. Okay. Okay.
10 out of 10 name.
10 out of 10 name. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, any more questions, ladies and gentlemen? Any more questions before I ask some closing questions? We talk, by the way, here a lot of topics about your personal projects. Let's switch to a bit of AAA. So, how did you pick your projects when you started working on AAA, or was it something that companies offered you a chance to work for them? I was interested in that as well.
You know, it's a company project at the moment. You know,
Okay.
the time T. I think.
Okay. Okay.
You know, so there's not really a choice there,
I see.
but yeah, Arcane projects were pretty cool, so that was okay.
I see. And when you were working for different companies, how did you pick those companies? Like, what was the idea, or have you picked those companies for working them, or did they pick you?
I picked them. I mean, yeah, I went to them to just you know. I wanted to be hired by them because I really valued their game, you know. So I wanted to go there, and I had the chance of being accepted there.
I see.
That's nice.
I see.
That was nice.
Okay. Okay.
I'm thankful for that.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, any more questions, by the way? Sorry for that, my voice is cutting out. Any more questions? Any more questions? Bármilyen más kérdés? Any more questions? Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. So we
One of the dog's names is Maya.
Oh, you have a dog too. Nice.
Yeah.
Are they fighting or they never fight?
A bit, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
they do.
I see. Okay.
In a playful way.
By the way, so I know that I can't ask questions about Crysis 4, but have you played the best Crysis games? So that's how you ended up being at Crytek?
Yeah. Yeah, my favorite is the first one.
I see.
But yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Don't know what I can add.
Okay, I see. And are you a more like story-oriented type of person, or like a multiplayer guy as well, when it comes to video games? Because you mentioned that you work for Hunt team as well, so that's why I'm asking.
I like both, but I have a soft spot for solo games, and yeah, the way they tell such stories. I really also like the ones that blend both together. I just thinking on the top of my head there, but GTA Online. I remember doing the heists with some people,
Yeah.
you know, that it works really well. I think it blends together.
True. Speaking of starting again, companies would you also like to work for if you had the AAA companies? And what games would you be working if you had the possibility to apply?
There's not that many companies that interest me, to be honest.
Is it
I
more
like
the
Playdead.
game because you pick the company because you pick the job?
Company made. All the people that are there, you know. So Kojima Productions, which interest, but you need to speak Japanese, and I don't have the.
So they not like hiring people or do not speak Japanese?
They designers, because designers are, they have to speak a lot basically. Different jobs, so you have to be at some point, interact with Japanese people in Japanese.
I see. Maybe you can. That's your future, right? Who knows?
I tried. It's a long way, and I see the end of it, and I wasn't even sure it would end up something, So at some point, I let go.
Okay. Any more questions? No. Any more questions? When, by the way, players can hear your next personal project that you mentioned that you're making with your wife, that players can hear something about your projects or like more years to come?
I'd like to be to share a bit more of development maybe for the next game, because the spoilers won't be as critical as they could be for Threshold.
I see.
So play a bit more with that maybe. I'm not sure really. It's gonna depend on many things. On if I get funding to make that.
I see. Okay. We touched here. Would you like to add something more that we haven't touched? This stuff, life, the game developer life, games. Before I ask the closing questions.
No, not really.
Okay.
Closing questions.
Okay. So from all the experiences that you have in your developer, what would be your advice for those people who would like to make their first move into the video gaming?
Good question. If don't overthink what you're doing, try to start small, try to make try to replicate an idea that you have in your mind in the simplest way possible. That will tell you, no, you're not supposed to do a game design again. You're supposed to do a level like that. You have to meet those. That's a good way of doing it. I think you should just go straight in the to make it true. Realize a lot more work on a lot more, and for that you need to test the game with people, confront how things need to be, and that would be my main advice, I think. Don't have a specific framework that would work for everything, and that doesn't work like that.
I see. An ultimate closing additional question for me, by the way, what summarizes all the topics that we talked about from me would be, and again, it will be a more personal question. What would be like the ultimate message if you would happen to have to talk about or say a message that you always intended to have in your games, in Threshold as well? What would be that message that you always wanted to give, even if it's from the back of your head with Threshold? Because I believe that all crafts have a message, right? That's the creator always wants to give out, even if it's not a preaching message, but it's there. So what would be that message that you always wanted to give to the players with Threshold?
I think we can touch that by saying be aware of what's around you. Make sure to get different sources of information, and don't feel like you have to be perfect in regards to what's there. What all the things that we contribute to, we participate in without really wanting it. So don't blame yourself 100% of time, but be sure to know what you are participating into.
I see.
To not just blind yourself to your position in the world on what you are. On your I think that's it.
Thank you so much. Like I said, thank you, by the way,
Sure.
for your honesty and for everything that you have spoken about, and also thank you for the question from White Peaks, hopefully pronouncing your name right as well, and for that answer as well. Thank you again. It was really my pleasure and an honor to have you on my show. And like
Likewise.
I said, I will need some more of your minutes of stream, but for those people who were with us here at today's episode, first of all, don't forget to check Threshold on Steam, right? And be on the lookout for other games like Olive in the future, hopefully. And yeah, also, thanks everyone who joined us for today's episode. Don't forget to share the game so our friend here also can grow his audience. And yeah, thanks for joining us for today's episode. Like I said, have a great day or the night, depending where you live, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye bye.